A pleasant day to everyone. We are the Group 2 presenters. Our assigned topic is all about the type of tests and assessment strategies. So, let us know first the two general type of test. A test or examination is an assessment intended to measure a test taker's knowledge, skills, aptitude, physical fitness, or classification in many other topics. Basically, a test may be administered orally, on paper, on computer, or in a confined area that requires a test taker to physically perform a set of skills. Understanding the different types of testing, the kinds of results they provide, and how they complement one another help teachers determine what the best course of actions to do. As I have said, there are two general types of tests. These are the objective test and the subjective test. First is the objective test. These aim to assess a specific part of the learner's knowledge using questions which have a single correct answer. In other words, objective test requires only one and one correct answer. It is a pencil and paper test, for example, a simple recall like fill in the blanks, enumeration, and identification. It can also be alternative response test in which two options are provided like true or false. Objective tests can also be multiple choice tests, which is the most versatile test type. And lastly, matching type tests that is useful in measuring factual information as well as relationship between two things, ideas or concepts. So this type of test ensures perfect objectivity in scoring and it takes less time to answer than an essay test. The second type of test is the subjective test. These aim to assess areas of students' performance that are complex and qualitative, using questioning, which may have more than one correct answer or more ways to express it. In short, subjective tests require one or more sentences to a specific questions. For example, essay like narrative, persuasive, argumentative, short answers, scenario questions, and opinion questions.
The first assessment strategy is the paper and pencil. There are two examples. First one is the essay. This is a tool for assessing the student's ability to communicate ideas and writing. It is a writing sample used to assess student understand or how well students can analyze and synthesize information. The purpose for using AC is to assess the student's ability to communicate ideas and writing. It is also measure understanding and mastery of complex information. There are some characteristics of AC. First one is to measure a student's ability. Next is assess knowledge reasoning, organization, and communication skills. Third one is directly measure the performance specified by the expectation. Last one is to afford the student a chance to construct his or her own answers, demonstrating creativity and or originality. The teacher rules in AC is to use professional judgment to develop the problem, question, or statement in the scoring of the final product. The second example is select response, an assessment in which the student is used to identify the correct one answer. It is also commonly used procedure for gathering formal evidence about students' learning, specifically in memory, recall, and comprehension. Test knowledge of functional information, concepts, and principles in the form of multiple choices, true or false, matching types, as well as fill in the blank or short answer question. The purpose for using selected response, according to Nelson 2016, notes that these tests are good for assessing students' ability to remember and understand the course concepts and materials, but cannot measure students' ability to create, organize, communicate, define problems, or conduct research. There are also characteristics of select response. First one is can be administered to a large number of students at the same time and can be scored quickly, and lastly is stated in clear and simple language. The teacher rule in selected response identifies the format, selects the content to be covered, and lastly designs the questions.
Now let's proceed to the second strategy, which is the performance-based strategy. So there are two ways or tools that can assess this curriculum, which is through performance tasks and exhibit or demonstration. So first, the performance task. This requires the students to demonstrate a skill of proficiency. It also provides information about students which paper and pencil could not provide. So basically, um, the students were tasked or asked to make, do, or create, perform, or produce something based on the acquired skills, knowledge that they have learned in a specific course or unit or subject. An example of this can be creating or making brochure, a diagram report, can also be prose and poetry interpretation, presentations, speeches, project proposals, and so on and so forth. So this activity can be done through by individual or can also be through collaborative groups. Next is the exhibit or demonstration. So if we talk about exhibit, it consists of objects, models, specimen, etc. So on. They convey a specific message to the person who is observing it or who is watching it. And if you talk about demonstration, it shows the people how a particular thing is done. It can be through step-by-step procedure, how to properly brush your teeth, step-by-step procedure in cooking adobo, or how to cook or how to plant a tree in EPP subject, like that. Some example of exhibit can be galleries of print or digital photography, physical products such as models, sculpture, diorama, artworks, like that. An example again of what do you call this? A demonstration is in EPP subject, which a student acquired locomotor skills, ball skills, precision or proper movements, routines in folk dance or international dances, or creating and performing musical routine with a partner or in a group. This strategy or performance-based strategy are scored or graded through checklists, rubrics, and rating scales. So, this provide teacher information about how students understand the the what the teacher have taught and how can they apply the knowledge to the task that is given to them. So next or the third strategy is observational strategy. So it is assess or a tools in assessing this one is through observation. Basically, the teacher is the one who is doing the observation to the student. Okay, if you talk about observation, it refers or it assesses the student's strength, weaknesses, learning style, interests, needs, and attitudes. A process of observing or recording the behavior of the student. It can be used in every day to assess the student in different ages or in different learning or subject areas. There are some roles that uh, the teacher in assessing the student. So, like watching the student respond to question, how the student study, how the student complete assigned task, and how students listen with with others, or how they speak and discuss with their classmates through group works or through by pair activities. And also, teachers observe non-verbal form of communication. In this way, the teacher can know their attitude or their characteristics of how they communicate with each other or how they complete a task by themselves or through groupings. Observational strategies are made using checklists for properly guide. It is a set of questions and or a journal as a guide to ensure the focus of the observation by the teacher.
So next is number 4, personal communication strategy. Based on his own word communication, this is the things that we will going to use when we are communicating. The two types of personal communication strategy is conference, a formal or informal meeting between and among people for the purpose of sharing ideas, exchanging information. For both parents, teacher, and student to confer each other about the student's level of performance. So I will give my own example. The example of conference is a meeting of 2 or more persons for discussing matters of common concerns. Next is the interview, an inquiry to gather and clarify information. Next definition, a form of conversation in which all parties increase knowledge and understanding. My example for this interview is for asking someone about their personal backgrounds. Like when you are hiring a people in the company. Number 5, next strategy is oral strategy. It is also a two types, question and answer. The definition of this is a tool to access students' progress and to gather information about the student on a particular field. Next definition, questions are being posted by the teacher to determine if the students understand what was being presented or to extend thinking, generate ideas, or problem solving. My example for this question and answer is If you have a question or clarification in the reporter, you need to ask them so that you can understand the topics or lesson and they will answer you their feedback. The last types of oral strategy is classroom presentation. An assessment tool wherein students present their finished outcomes in front of an audience, panel, or class. It allows students to communicate their knowledge to the audience. So this classroom presentation is one example of this is the reporters, the one who will present their finished product or finished topics or lesson, and they will going to share it in front.
Next would be the reflective strategy.
For reflective strategy, we have here the self-assessment, which is a recollection for the purpose of determining one's strengths and weaknesses. It also provides students with direction. Self-assessment gives the teachers on the students' perceptions of their learning. This focuses on learning outcomes and encourages students to think beyond and reflect on the activities they had done.
We also have here the combination of strategies includes the portfolio. And this portfolio is a collection of students' reflections and works which is done with creativity. This can be a visual presentation of a student's accomplishments, capabilities, strengths and weaknesses, and progress over a specific time. Is the complex forms. These are concept mapping, laboratory-based performance, investigate project, oral or visual presentation, journal, reaction paper, interview, and portfolio. This complex form assesses complex and higher-level instructional outcomes such as analysis, synthesis, evaluation, problem-solving, motor skills, and cognitive strategies that is more reflective of real-world tasks. We also have here the recording devices, which provides various means of organizing the recordings of information about the student's achievement. First one is the checklist, which is a tool that consists of a list of qualities that are expected to be observed as present or absent. Another one is the anecdotal record. This is a short narrative describing both behavior and the context in which the behavior occurred. Thirdly is the rating scale. This is a tool that uses a number line as a basis to estimate the numerical value of a performance or for a product. Another one is the rubrics for portfolio. This is a compilation of the experiences as authentic learning comes, presented with evidence and reflections. And lastly is the learning log, which is an ongoing record by a student of what he or she does while working on a particular task or assignment.